Sup kids? The bear has been poked. I had a Dubious game yesterday. There has been some discussion in the comments about this game. I'm somewhat inclined to agree with Andy though, on the whole. I tried to do some interesting analysis today, by the way, and analyse the move times versus the move quality in that game. It's kind of hard to see patterns there, especially without the access. Because what on earth is this? It's her opponent has an amusing username. Let's put it that way. Okay. Yeah, so chess.com has access to computed obviousness thing, which is kind of harder for human beings to assess. So I'm just going to castle here. I'm not worried about this random pawn. I get it. I get the username now. I figured it out. All right. So what the fresh hell is going on here? Hello, Zara. Okay. So now started to think about developing some pieces, which is probably not a bad idea. All right. What are we doing? Well, we probably want to grab the center. E3 is an idea. I'm not concerned about the knight coming in. I could also develop my knight. This kind of discourages b3. So I need to start thinking about where I'm going to be putting my pawns, actually. This bishop is going to want to come out into the board, probably to one of these squares. So do we go for... I mean, the problem with this is it gets in the way of that knight, but then... So you have a common idea is to fianchetto this bishop. Maybe with like c4, d4, stuff like that. Maybe c4 is quite a flexible move now. I just don't know. If I do this, you see, if he takes, I can't take back with the pawn because it hangs my rook on a1. Could do that, takes, queen takes. But that's a bit funky because my bishop's kind of looking this way. Okay, opponent now grabs some center. Okay, I'm going to play d3. d3 paired with c4. It gives my knight a natural square with some central control, and it allows my bishop to come out. My queen's looking at this pawn, which is defended only by the rook. Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to just push a3 and just prevent that knight from coming in. Also prevents this bishop, which is now able to enter the fray. I don't want him to come to that square either, particularly. I mean, I'd really rather prevent him from coming there as well. But I think we're doing okay. So he's defending this pawn with his knight. I think we have us a fairly normal situation. I've got a little dark square and a little light square chain. So explain the idea of this move to me. He's double defending this pawn. This is a pattern that we see. I could go for a kind of a clamp, Maroczy bind thing. I could develop my bishop with tempo, but then we're going to have either bishop e7 or pawn to f6, and then my bishop will be embarrassed. Unless I mean, if bishop e7, I could defend it with a queen, which is a developing move. Pawn f6, I don't know, he's kind of in some danger of getting his knight trapped, isn't he? So what do we think about this move? If this, I've got queen d2, take back with the knight, it's a developing move, right? And we're in the opening. Agreed? Okay. So he's got two reasonable moves here. He could also put the knight back, which would be a small victory for me. Not concerned about. There we go. So we have the bishop, and now I can play queen c2. And I shall. And back down to 870 now. We've been thrown down from the lofty heights of the 900s. I'm not sure I'm happy about this pawn coming in. See, the problem with this is, okay, so the good news is it gives you massive control over d5. Bad news is it leaves a big hole on d4. And it also gives you this backwards pawn, which will have to be defended by pieces. Okay. That's an interesting move. Because you see what's going on here. I mean, he's threatening to come in with that as well. That is unpleasant because it's a fork on queen and rook. So my inclination now is to capture the knight. Issue there is he captures my bishop. And I can't recapture. You see? So I take knight. That was a very handy move. He takes bishop. My queen is hit. And then on the next move, he wants to recapture the knight, you see. So I think what we have to do is we have to do it the other way around. I take the bishop. You threaten the queen. I take the queen. You take my queen. I take your knight back. Or he just takes the bishop and we call it quits, right? We trade knights. He's then left with a slightly exposed king, and I think I have a better position. So I think this is good for me. I think this is, okay, challenging. Now, I think we kind of have to take the knight because I can't see another good way to prevent knight b3 with this fork. So I'm going to go ahead and take. He's now got the royal pair on the same diagonal. Now after this pawn recaptures, I'm slightly hampered with the development of my own queen's knight, but you know, we can live with this. I could push h3 or even f3 potentially, just kick this knight back. I also have this actually, that's quite nice. Apart from he's going to take it, isn't he? Why are you taking so long over a very simple recapture? Okay, finally, sense prevails. Okay, now, so material is equal. We've both lost a knight, we've both lost a bishop. What's the difference? I have a marvelous pawn structure here. Very happy with that. Got no complaints there. h3 is quite obvious move, that the knight will have to go backwards. He can't go there because pawn takes, so yeah, the knight will have to retreat in some way. This pawn is actually pinned right now. This pawn is doubled and somewhat isolated right now until he plays like c5, yeah. This is a move because that pawn's undefended and so is this knight, but then so is this pawn. So if I went there, actually he can't take the knight because I take, so he can't take the pawn. Queen can't take pawn because I take knight. So what happens if I go here? This is the question. Now let's say the knight retreats, and let's say I grab this pawn here. The queen grabs this pawn, and because I haven't connected my rooks because of my awkward knight. Okay, so I'm thinking h3 now. On balance, I think h3. Kick the horse out. I'd like to get my queen to vacate d2 so that my knight can go to d2. Actually, this is... I've just missed something as well. d4 is also undefended. Actually, even like something like e3 or e4. Maybe not. I'd love to get a rook on there defended by something. And right now the queen's the best piece to defend the rook on there. Okay. This is still a move. Because I attack the pawn. And I prepare knight d2. What will black do? What should black do in that situation? I'm attacking this pawn. c5 is an idea. c5 though prevents him from ever playing c6, and that worsens the pin on this pawn. So I'm kind of drawn to this move. I think in a blitz game it'd be a kind of a no-brainer move, but I can't see a downside to it, and I'm concerned that black is still uncastled, and can't really castle now, or he's going to lose a pawn. Right, I'm not worried about the knight attacking the queen. This bishop is bad. He's still got to move one of these pawns, right? My bishop is marvellous. My horsey is my worst bit right now, but that's getting ready to come into the game, so happy days. I think we can pour a cup of joe. There we go. Yeah, funny old game yesterday. So Andy wrote some interesting comments, and I hate getting drawn into these did they cheat, didn't they cheat conversations, because it tends to ruffle feathers and get some people quite upset and generate more heat than light. However, and I know, for example, I watch Naroditsky's streams, and once or twice he has called somebody out for cheating. Because to beat a grandmaster of his quality, or even to go toe-to-toe with them, you have to play out of your skin. So, he has, there's a couple of times where he hasn't held back and he said, oh, they're definitely cheated. But on the whole, when somebody plays well, he says, no, they just played well, And he doesn't accept people in his Twitch stream kind of commenting, oh, the guy's using an engine, blah blah blah, which is fine. It's the way it should be. However, I do believe that at lower levels, particularly more so at lower levels, I think that engine cheating is rife. I really do. Alrighty. Okay, so might get back to that conversation. So queen c5. So what black is doing is bringing the queen out to defend the pawn. The queen is not known as the best defender on the board, and the reason for that is that the queen is being more valuable than any other piece, is very easy to kick around. Right? Although she is powerful in terms of her mobility, the flip side of that is that she is also vulnerable. So you might consider a move like pawn to b4, hitting the queen. Well, what if they take en passant? And I can't take back then and hit the queen again. That's an idea though. Knight d2 is the move I wanted to make anyway. Now I am going to have a slightly weak pawn here, which my queen cannot retreat to defend. However, this queen is the only defender of this knight, so I'll put that in orange, and the only defender of this pawn, and the only defender of this pawn. Right? So this queen is somewhat overstretched now. I think maybe a move like c5 would have been preferable there for black. So what happens if knight d2? She might come here. She can't get there or there. If she goes to b6 to attack this pawn, she loses the knight with check. So it's, yeah. So I'm thinking my knight's headed for e4. Hello, my love. You right? She says, are we getting a walk today, Daddy? Yes, we are. Yes. Say hello to the boys and girls. Okay. Hello. Right. So I'm inclined to play, hello, something like Queen e4. I can't go to e3 because of the pawn, and I can't go here because of the knight. Queen e4 comes with check. The bishop can't block. If the knight goes back, what? What? If the knight goes back, that's another kind of a wasted move. However, I am sticking my queen on the square where my knight really wants to go. So, what would happen if I played knight e4? Attacking their queen. You take my queen, I take your queen. You might take my bishop. I recapture with the king. I feel like that is a good way to liquidate a lot of my advantage in a way. Black has played with nothing really other than I mean, he's moved 2 pawns out of 6. Right? Quite a long way. And everything else has been done with the knight and the queen. So what else do we have? Well, what do we have? See, my knight could also come to f3. And that attacks his pawn, so I'm going to play this move. I'm liking this move. Knight here, I've got f4, right? Blocking a check or blocking an attack essentially pins the piece. If you block with a lower value piece, you're pinning it, right? By definition. So, why blocking attacks is often not preferable. And the first thing that you get, if you see a piece that's pinned, can I attack the pinned piece, particularly with a pawn? That's a lot of P's in one sentence. Put pressure on the pinned piece, PP on the PP. You see, I had the idea of knight to e4, which is centralized. But then we have knight f3, and you've got to be flexible. The more flexible you are in your thinking, the better your chess is going to be. I am convinced of this. What's more, notice that, because I said that c5 was a good move, probably the preferable move here for black. And having put the queen there prevents pawn c5. In it. Okay, so block with the queen. That's another queen move. So I'm thinking that I probably don't want to initiate the trade. That sticks this knight in the center of the board, and I can't kind of pin it. What about a move like f4? Is that a dumb move? Or e3? Because if queen takes queen, I can recapture with the bishop or with the knight, possibly with the knight. Or do I play a move like rook a e1? That's a thought. Or rook b1. Rook a b1. See, if he initiates the trade, I get to centralize the knight. Happy days, right? Knight might come in here. My knight really wants to be here and attack this. That's where it would love to be. But it's three jumps away from a square like that, really. Yeah, I can't even go there or there. That's the problem. But yeah, I'm kind of loath to... Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to centralize this rook and allow the queen trade, but on my terms, not on his terms. The queen's also pinned, by the way. The queen now can't go anywhere else other than on the e-file. Similar situation. I have knight f3, which forces the issue, right? I'm attacking the queen twice. Black could try and defend, but I'm also attacking this pawn twice, so that ain't going to work. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, if takes now, I have to take back the pawn. That's a bit of a pain. Didn't really think that through, did I? But now I'm threatening twice. Also, yeah, there we go. Okay, I have to. That was a bit of a lazy move from me. But now I win the pawn. So I actually pawn up. Look at that. 3-second move there for my opponent. He's got 10 minutes. What he didn't see was that this pawn is undefended. He could have just played c5. But he didn't. He did this to attack. And this is both a discovered... It's both a capture and a discovered defense. Okay, now what we do is chill, and lo and behold, my knight has got a route into his where he really, really wants to go. Tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I'd love to do that, and the bishop can't defend it. The rook could. Pushing the pawn don't do nothing. In fact, pushing the pawn loses this with a fork. And that puts me 2 pawns up, which is splendid. Now I do have fugly pawns. My pawns are, I admit it, not the prettiest. I could think about something like f3, right? Work with me on this. f3, h4, and giving my bishop this diagonal. Let's put it in green. Oh no, they haven't got green on here. Okay, again, he's defended with the highest value piece he can. I'm inclined to just connect my pawns like this. Now my bishop could have a couple of other routes out into the board. This one is currently shielded by that bishop. This route would involve me moving this pawn, so this bishop's kind of a bit out of the game. I could reroute my knight round to d5, maybe hit a baruka. I'm going to do that. So the name of the game here is not necessarily to push forward with all my might. The name of the game is to increase activity. So re-centralizing my knight. This is a fork on im and im. Now here, hello Dolly. Okay, let's think this through. Knight d5 hits the rook and this. He's only got a couple of options. Take the knight with the bishop, in which case I recapture with the e-pawn, and I've got and I have an extra e-pawn, this guy, right? Or he has to play his rook here. Another thought is f4, f5. I mean, what are you going to do about that, Sonny Jim? He's attacking this pawn. What are undefended? Okay, I'm doing this move. I'm doing this move. I am a pawn up. And I'm hitting your rook. This is a tempo move. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's ED. I am. The idea of CD is just, well, I give myself a minority on the queen side, and there's just no need. Right now we've got 4-4 on the queen side, but I'm up 4-3 on the king side. Okay, this pawn is under attack. I have rook c1. Because b3 isn't playable. Okay. Now we get to rethink. Remember the problems I was having with this... you want to play this? Okay, f4. Knight can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there. Right? Knight moves. This pawn is under some pressure. But no, knight moves, and that's one of the attackers taken off c4. Yeah, so we're chilling. Yeah, we cool. Okay, current issue. Pawn on e2 is undefended. Now I'm thinking king f2. That's what I'm thinking. King f2, right? The king, yes, it's a high value piece. Yes, it's a powerful piece. It becomes more powerful the more material comes off the board. But right now, I'm figuring that king is a very respectable defender. Okay. Now I'm thinking rook f e1. I might want to push e4. I don't think he's coming in here. If he does, I will trade my bishop for that knight. I will trade my bishop. I don't think he's coming in here. So rook f e1. He can't come there because I take, and then we might trade rooks. Didn't quite sanity check that one, but we're okay. You'll notice when you're playing badly that you notice mistakes just after you play them instead of just before. Just before is preferable. Okay, that's a checkity doodah, and okay, hang on. Okay. Bishop takes, rook takes, that's one attacker on this pawn. He can summon a second, but I can push up. And if that rook even thinks about going here, I have e3, and the rook is trapped, man. So the big question is, what is the better piece in the ending? And I'm convinced that the knight is slightly stronger than the bishop. I like playing with a knight in the ending. So king f3 now, and this just do not work. Don't try it. Don't think about it. Well, no, do think about it. Do think about it and retreat your square ass back. There you go. Good boy. Okay, now e4. I have a slight weakness here, but it cannot be exploited by this rook. And he'll probably want to try and bust some shapes, but I can't see any argument against d4 now. I could even stick His Royal Highness, His Majesty, sorry, into d4. Opponent has played relatively quickly so far. I've played some slow moves in the middle game here. We're now speeding up, and I'm kind of just thinking it's time now just to stare my opponent out. This is a game of endgame chicken now. I might stick my rook here. Hey, there we go. You see, we saw this. This is fine. Taketh, taketh, boom, kind of thing. You know what I mean? 420. I want to keep my time on roughly 420. Now, master way. CD. If I do this, he's got well, either way, this pawn is isolated. It's got it's got to be this. Again, I'm not too concerned about this. I've got either rook, probably this rook coming to e3 on the third rank rather than this one, because that undefends this pawn. That is actually my dog coming down the stairs. Is that you, Bentley? Hello? Huh. You got front? Okay. If I take pawn takes, that is a 3-on-2 on the queen side. Okay. However, takey takey, this is then a completely passed pawn. So takes takes. Smack my rook here. King's going to come to like these two squares, or I let him take, I take back. Either way, now he could be thinking about this, but again, it don't matter. I'll just bring my king in here. Maybe I should have done that to get the passed pawn. Are you thinking that? Yeah, boo-boo. Go out for a walk in a bit, mate. Don't worry. See, there's only 3 possible results in chess. 1-0, 0-1, and half-half. It doesn't matter how you go about it. No, I'm not being friends. This channel does not make friends. This account. The channel does. I always accept friend requests on chess.com with my main account. All right. Okay. So I can't take here because I've actually pinned my own pawn here in an absolute pin. So I'm thinking king d3. Take here, I can take back there or with the rook. Probably with the rook, actually. No, not with the rook. Oh, hang on. There. He wins the... Oh, that doesn't win the pawn. Does it? Takes. Oh. I take... He has won the pawn. You knobhead. Takes, I'm in check. And I have to go here. That's a pain in the arse. Takes. He could take. Same difference. I've just lost my advantage like a complete jellyhead. No, he can't take there. Because I can move my rook with check. And then I'm up a rook. So that don't work. Takes here, takes, I win my pawn back. This does not work. Oh, hang on. No, he can block with the rook, but... Oh, right, that's just a miscalc from black. That's actually a game-losing miscalculation. He can block with the rook, but it doesn't count because the king's too far away. And that is an example of why it's a jolly good idea to activate your king in the ending. Okay, and now we're chilling. Again, 3.5 minutes, ain't no rush. Okay, let us take stock. Right, this pawn is a slight liability. However, you have to say, how's that king going to get to that pawn? He can't go directly towards it because these two squares are covered by itself, right? He can't go this way because of this pawn. So actually this pawn is absolutely fine. So I've got plenty of time just to start sweeping up some pawns now. And now, you know, you wheel out Mr. Scheibel to say you resign now because all is lost. Okay, what do we do? Do we go after this pawn or do we go after this pawn? Don't really matter. Okay, and Mr. Dick C. Normus is feeling slightly emasculated. I mean, on the whole, actually, that was a really solid game. We will take a look. I want to see if I screwed up badly at any point. So let's have a look at the analysis. Here we go. It's just computing. Ooh, Hunty, what did we do? One blunder. See, look, super tight, man. Super tight. It's all within like 1 and a bit pawns. Okay. Gives away a free pawn, of course it does. Fool. Yeah, hands up if you saw that. Hands up if you were spitting your Crispies at the screen, I know. That's not a bad move. It's probably going to say develop something. Of course it is. Develop something. It's only half a pawn, doesn't matter. Yeah, again, see, moving a developed piece a second time, but why? Could have... I developed the wrong piece. And it's only half a pawn. Oh, it didn't like that. Okay. That's actually, you know, a pawn and a half difference there. Because after this, it's saying you could have kicked the bishop. Oh. Okay, so let's fast forward to here. So my opponent just made a mistake. What did my opponent do? That. And that was a miss. Why? I should have done... Huh. Can't see it. That's a mistake. And that is a blunder. Not good, Precious. Should have tried it off. And then he takes... Ah, that's it. Problem with this is... That's a blunder, is it? Okay. Well, actually, equal pawns. Hang on. Oh, right. Okay, the problem with this is... Okay, I pin this pawn, therefore this pawn is not defending that pawn, so this pawn actually hangs. Ach! Ach, you absolute fool, ye! You numbskull, ye! So, yeah... I feel like that move was played too quickly. And there you go. That's what happens. So, he then misses, and I do this, and I should have taken the rook, apparently. Which is winning. King d3 is a miss, because he could have gone... Right. If he'd have took the pawn, and I take back... Oops. Hello. After this, if he takes the pawn, and I take here, both of my rooks are under attack, and my king is overstretched. It cannot defend both of them. Therefore, I have to move my king out of the way so that they defend each other. Oh! Again! The endgame demon runs up and bites me on the arse one more time. And I still finished with a couple of minutes on the clock. I could have thunk my way through that. However, we're up to 911 in rating. We're back into the up in the heavens of the 900s, and we're going to race on towards 1000. But that was a better game. Thank you to my opponent, Mr. Dick C. Normus. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.